Welcome to Playfully Orange, our conversations about arts and culture here in Central Florida. My guest today is Jordan Grant. Welcome, Jordan.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Jordan, you're currently playing a lead character in what?
I'm currently playing Belle in CFC Arts' production of Beauty and the Beast in concert.
All right. So you are a musical actor,
Yes.
dancer?
Singer first, strong mover.
Okay. And well, let's find out a little bit about you. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Arizona, in Tucson, Arizona. Lived there my entire life, and then I moved here about 6 years ago to pursue performing in the theme park industry.
What led you to think that you wanted to do performing?
I grew up singing. My mom sings. Lots of my family members sing, but there's not really an opportunity to do that as a living in Arizona. But I watched a lot of shows growing up. The first show I ever watched was actually Beauty and the Beast. Fell asleep. I was like 5. And then I saw Lion King when it was touring when I was in middle school, and that's really when I was like, oh, yeah, that's what I want to do forever: sing and dance and pretend to be someone else. And that's been my dream ever since.
And you have some involvement with that show, Lion King, too.
Mhm.
Tell us about that.
So I actually just learned that show in March at Disney's Animal Kingdom. I portray Kabibi, one of the vocalists in the show, which is definitely a dream come true. And it's actually kind of cool because one of the people that taught me the show was Mufasa when I saw it on the tour when I was in middle school. So it's kind of a full circle moment. But I've been doing that for about 6 months now.
All right. So skipping back, in Arizona, you knew that you wanted to be a performer. What did you do to prepare for that kind of a lifestyle?
I did show choir in high school. I was in the thespian society in high school, sang at church, sang anywhere I could. And then I went to college for a couple of years to pursue theater, and then decided that I wanted to just move out here and go for it. But it was just a lot of vocal lessons and acting classes and dance classes and just hitting the pavement.
And did you have a commitment with Disney when you came here, or did you?
Nope. I just worked in a regular job at Disney. I worked at one of the stores for a while, worked at some of the rides, and just auditioned. And then finally last summer, I really got my foot in the door when I learned the Hoop-Dee-Doo Review, which is a dinner show at Fort Wilderness.
So Disney can consume all of one's life. Have you had a chance to explore Central Florida?
Yeah, I love to go to the other types of parks that we have. I love Lou Gardens, and I love um, I love being able to just go downtown and go to restaurants. Obviously, I love going to the theme parks as a guest, not just Disney. I love Universal, SeaWorld, even going out to Tampa to Busch Gardens. I do love a roller coaster.
How about other local arts and culture?
Yeah, I've done a lot of community theater productions aside from this one um, in Osceola County. I also have done a couple of things at the Dr. Phillips Center with a few different community theater productions, and it's really like the smallest of worlds here doing theater.
And how does that compare to Tucson, Arizona?
Well, all you really have is community theater there, so that's definitely something that I'm used to. I got my start in community theater. I did Shrek when I was in Tucson, but it's definitely not nearly as colorful. Um, Arts definitely is not the focus in Arizona. So here, it definitely has more of a footprint. And so I would say that everything's a little bit more grand here, which is really, really awesome to be a part of. Versus in Arizona, where everything's pretty low key. The theater company that I did shows with back there is housed in a mall, which I'm not complaining. You got to do what you got to do. But here you have this stunning Dr. Phillips Center to perform in. You have Northland, which is where we're doing Beauty and the Beast. These beautiful, beautiful performing arts spaces that don't really exist in Arizona.
Is that what you meant by grand? Is the
Yeah,
spaces?
Yeah, the spaces and just the talent also is just mind-boggling. I always meet someone new who I just am blown away by what they offer, and that definitely is not something that you see every day.
What's the thing you've seen in Central Florida that's blown you the most away?
I am definitely a people person, and so something that I really, really relate to is a lot of the inclusivity that happens here in Central Florida that you don't necessarily see in Arizona, mostly because it's such a small niche group of people. It's the same 5 people. But here, there's so much opportunity for so many people. Um, a lot of people with exceptional needs, a lot of people who are different races, creeds, anything like that. And so I think that's something that is just really wild to me. It reminds me that so many people have so many different talents.
Can you think of a specific instance when that really hit you?
Here in Florida, yeah, I mean, now especially, I think is probably when it's really, really blown me away. I've always known, but in Beauty and the Beast, we have an opportunity to perform with Central Florida Community Arts' offshoot called Upbeat, and it's young actors with exceptional needs, and they're part of our show. And they came into one rehearsal, and they knew their stuff, and they were so full of joy, and they just nothing could stop them. And it was such a reminder for me of, sometimes you just have to let go and just do what you're there for. And it's really, really awesome to get to see them in rehearsals, and they're all so sweet. And oh, it's my favorite part of being in the show, probably.
Yeah, there are probably not a lot of places in our country where you can go and see a troupe of children with special needs that are fitting right into a production.
That was definitely the thing that I think made me the most excited about Beauty and the Beast. I did a production of Shrek, I mentioned earlier, when I lived in Arizona, and we did it in tandem with the School for Deaf and Blind in Tucson. So we had a shadow cast of performers that were signing everything that the principal actors were singing, and I played Fiona, so I had my shadow Fiona who was signing everything. And that was really my first introduction to that. And so I've always kind of had a passion for performers with special needs. And so when the production team was telling me about this particular aspect of the production when I was auditioning for Beauty and the Beast, I was hooked. I was looking forward to that moment in Be Our Guest, and it defied all of my expectations. It was awesome.
Well, things are great, but if they were to get better, what would be your dream?
Um, my dream as a performer is to just do what I'm doing now. So I've achieved that dream. But my dream as a artist in general is I would love to open a theater company specifically for people with special needs of all ages, allowing them to do book shows that people know and love, but also allow them to create their own art and write their own stories and even maybe make their own music and their own costumes. I would love to create a space that really highlights those people that are not normally highlighted.
Have you seen or do you know about a theater like that somewhere?
I know that there are a lot of programs like Upbeat that exist, but I personally have never been to a theater company specifically with that goal in mind, and that's always something that I would love to do.
Nice. Well, if you would think that there's one thing missing here, what would that be?
I don't know. I think there's this is something that happens everywhere, but I notice a lot of times that it feels like the same shows all the time because everybody wants to do the prom. Everybody wants to do Newsies. Everybody wants to do Little Mermaid. And I think that we have such a diverse, rich culture here in Orlando. When people say melting pot, like I think of Orlando because so many different people live here. And I wish that theater companies would work together to not do the same shows. So that way, we as artists have an opportunity to tell very different stories within our season because there are so many different stories to tell. And I would definitely say that that's something that I've noticed a lot lately. I'm like, okay, Who else is doing the prom? Who else is going to do Little Mermaid? I love it, but let's do something else.
Cool. Well, we are glad that you are here and adding your talents and especially your um, interest and desire to help a part of our community that doesn't always get a lot of help. So thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for watching this edition of Playfully Orange.